Welcome to Metroid Prime Trilogy, my next LPing endeavor. And oh, is it an endeavor, my friends. It is 3 games packaged on one disc. This is a Wii game, so if you have Wii U, you can play this too. Although the package of Metroid Prime Trilogy was made in scarce numbers, so I've been hearing it's hard to find this game, the actual trilogy, within the tin case. I did a unboxing and review of this game before. You can look that up on my channel. And I've been really wanting to do a full LP of every game on this disc. You got Metroid Prime, Prime 2 Echoes, and Prime 3 Corruption. So we're going to, of course, start out with the first Prime in veteran mode. Because I'm a bamf. So, whether you can get the game or not, you will see the masterpiece that is the Metroid Prime Trilogy that Retro Studios designed for Nintendo, starting on the GameCube with Metroid Prime 1. So if you don't happen upon any Wii versions of the game, I still would highly recommend trying out the GameCube versions. The only difference, of course, main difference would be is that you don't have the Wii remote controls, which I might say are quite nice, very nice indeed. You just point where you want to shoot. It's a lot more direct. You still have the Z targeting system, but it doesn't completely lock onto your opponent like it would in the GameCube. You've got to use a little bit of maneuvering around with your wrist, but it's nothing completely erratic. You're not waving your arms all over to fight space pirates, never fear. It's just some simple wrist movements, and these little gate points here are meant to calibrate the Wii remote controls. They don't tell you that. They just make it seem like a security check to go past this frigate. But that's what it's doing. It's getting you acclimated to pointing with the Wii remote. This is a game that does splendid on Wii. Makes me wish that more shooters decided to come over here. Because other than the traditional mouse and keyboard, I really do believe that Wii remote controls are almost more accurate than a gamepad. Actually, definitely more accurate than a gamepad. And what's cool about Metroid Prime in particular is that, yes, it's a first-person shooter, we're taking it on from the first-person shooting perspective, but there have been many internet arguments about what is the genre of Metroid, or at least Metroid Prime. And some people will argue that it's only an adventure game, which is silly because, yeah, it's an adventure game that's taking place in first person, and guess what? You shoot things, so it's a first-person adventure game. But it really is. There's a lot of logs and scanning you can do with this game. I'm not going to do 100% of this game because I find the scanning of every single item, every single nook and cranny, of the Metroid Prime world to be a little bit tedious and definitely not good material for an LP that's entertaining. But I will meet you halfway on the log entries because they are pretty interesting and they add a lot of depth to the story. What's really nice is that this game doesn't tell the player how to play. You don't have to get all the logs, and you don't have to scan a damn thing. Well, okay, you might have to scan the occasional switch panel, but other than that, the game doesn't really force you into it. So you could be as exploratory as you want, you can learn as much as you really feel like scanning, and there are some definitely interesting points to scan. So I'll meet you halfway, and at the beginning and end of each episode of this LP, I'll put a log entry, so you'll get 2 per episode. Of course, we didn't have that on this episode because it's the very first, and I wanted the intro to be unimpeded. But now that you know what the program's going to be about, at the end of this episode you'll hear a log entry, and it will point to where it can be found as well. This way, if you want to do a 100% run of this, which not only includes scanning everything, so you got to scan things like this, like every single minutia piece of thing you have to scan. I hear a lot of people criticize that. I think it's a cool element because, like I said, the game doesn't force you to do it. If you're a completionist getting butthurt over all the things that you have to do on your checklist, getting all the missile items, getting every health upgrade, these are the things that will get you 100%. And there is a bonus for doing that. So keep that in mind. If you're a completionist, this is a vast game for you to get lost in, especially if you have the trilogy. Now, if you can't get your hands on the trilogy, I do believe new play controls, Prime 1 and Prime 2, are available. And when it came out, I already had Metroid Prime Corruption, but being the hardcore Metroid fan that I am, I had to go ahead and get the trilogy as well, it was an awesome buy. I don't recall how much I paid for it at the time. It was way less than I see it on for Amazon now. It's like over $100. I think it was just the price of a Wii game back then, whether it was 50. Yeah, Wii games were 50, not 60, right? And that gave you Prime 1, Prime 2, and Prime 3 in one pretty tin package with extra bonus art in the inside cover sleeve. It was really an awesome, awesome deal. And I still have that casing and tin and everything. It's stored back home because I found a way that you can put your games onto a flash drive and then just run them off that. So I much rather that, especially for a collector's item such as the trilogy, because I don't want the disc to get scratched up. I want it to stay in good condition. So enough about the accoutrements of the game and how awesome it sounds to be and how epic its lineage is. I mean, before Metroid got into the first-person genre, it was completely an adventure game, a platforming adventure game. Now, see, I don't see any ridiculous arguments about the early Metroid games, people saying that it wasn't a platformer. It was. You had platforms you had to go up and down through, and you adventured through the land. Games can have more than one genre, people. It's okay. But what really makes Metroid amazing for me, I just think it's the isolation, the ambience of it all. You know, there's so many first-person shooters out there that are all, you know, I got a direct shot. How is that thing not... My reticle's not even turning red, but I'm aiming right at it. Oh, it was red for a second. There we go. If charged shots don't tend to work, you can use a missile launcher, which for Samus, if you've played... I wonder what the hell is in this thing. If you've played Metroid Prime Hunters, you know that your missiles lock on to your enemies. So that's a very useful way to sneak around hallways and blast foes from a distance without getting any damage yourself. But the ambience of this, you know, there's so many high-caliber shooters out there that are intense and they've got the comm systems working. You're always having some sort of co-op going on, whether it's with an AI or with a friend or somebody online. It's always, you know, it's never an experience you take on by yourself. And hey, I'm explaining the brilliance of Metroid. Don't you dare shoot me during that. Oh, and you think you're funny. I just want to look at... Okay. Yeah, so that's all it tells us about the Space Pirate. Space Pirates have been in Metroid since the retro games, but they didn't look like that. And it's pretty cool because, as you see, we will go through the entire trilogy, you know, game by game, Prime 1, Prime 2, and Prime 3, all in that order. you'll see that the design of the 3D pirates even changed from game to game, which I thought was awesome. It keeps it really fresh in that you're not facing the same enemies, except these guys. They are lining hallways, and again, that looks like a freaking direct shot. They are lining hallways in the most inconvenient of places. And I don't know why. Oh. Again with the mischarge shot. There, blasted. Oh, for Pete's sakes. So it changes. It's got the looks of not just a space station. It's got forests we're going to adventure out into, deep waters, icy lands. I don't want to ruin it for you, but I mean we're in for a good time. If you're all about adventure, this summer is going to be sweet for you, because it's all about adventure games this summer. Doing Trespasser 2 at the same sort of time, or in that time frame of summer, and the idea is to just see as many adventurous lands as we can.